77. That was pretty cool. Yeah. But one of the first people that I met, and I actually formed a comedy duo with. We were Howie and Dave, and then we became briefly the Red Sneakers, and then we became the Rummys because we drank a lot. No, we drank a lot. Did I mention we drank a lot? We got really, really drunk all the time, and pretty much our act was getting up on stage and see how much we could drink in our 5-minute set that they gave us. And we were good at it, because we could guzzle at least a quart or something. And that's very, yeah, we were good. Wow. So, but you know what? The person that I did all this with is back. He's here. He's come to San Francisco with his family. Wow. And he's going to do his stuff, and we're going to actually sing 2 songs together. How cool is that? Are you excited about that, people? I'm not. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I want to bring him up, because he's a well-renowned poet in the Seattle, Tacoma area. He's been published more so than we have, Danny. Oh, sure. He actually has, he was actually in Parade Magazine. Did you have like a little column in that for a while?
Pacific Magazine.
Pacific Magazine.
The Seattle
Times. It had a P in there.
The Seattle Times Sunday section, yeah.
And he's still coming to do this thing. So I want to welcome a good friend of mine. Please, everybody, please welcome Mr. David Fewster, everybody. This is for you. This is the seat for the poetry.
Okay.
That's your poetry seat.
Well, as Howard mentioned, this has been some International San Francisco Poetry Day, and so I thought it would be appropriate that I would read a poem for this, because nothing clears out a room like a poem.
Now, before he reads this poem, let me just say,
no.
I was drunk.
Well, as Howard mentioned, we have known each other since I think we met in '78. And we met in '78. He was the next door neighbor of my roommates, a couple of fellows I moved in with, and we befriended each other until one day we stole his acid from his freezer, and then he wouldn't talk to us for a year. But in like the spring of 1979, you know, Howard, we had both come to Los Angeles to become comedy stars. Howard had a song called "Robin the Disco Jap" about his sister that he played on piano. It was a veritable overture about his disco Jap sister. And I had a song called "Go Lammy Go" about an Iowa farm boy who has sex with sheep. So we were ready for the big city, you know. We were from the provinces and ready to take the big town by storm. But, you know, individually our acts weren't going quite as well. But in the spring of 1979, Howard did something that changed the entire face of show business. He got a huge block of cash. It was the size of a brick, and it was on top of his piano. He had a little upright piano, and I was strangely attracted to Howard's talent and piano and block of cash. and so I started showing up at his house with my guitar quite often.
Ash remembers that.
We'll go into that a little bit more in a little bit. But let's flash forward to the next year, 1980. This poem is about those times. It's called "The Big Heist, L.A., 1980." This is actually from a book of poetry of mine called "Diary of a Homeless Alcoholic Suicidal Maniac and Other Picture Postcards," which was actually paid for by the Tacoma Arts Commission. How crazy they are up there. "The Big Heist, L.A., 1980. We smoked the resins off our pipes and walked to the Church Bazaar a block from Hollywood Boulevard and Grauman's Chinese. Doug, Howard, Susie, and I played the ring toss and penny pitch, watched the rickety rented Ferris wheel, waiting for a child to fall. 4 fresh-faced kids from someplace else, enjoying a night of innocent fun in L.A. On the way back, we bought a cheap bottle of tequila and played guitars at Howard's place, a house owned by Jane Mansfield's ex-boxer husband, singing. I'll give you a rendition of it. He sang that in those days. No more juice in the morning, no more breakfast in bed, do your own laundry, because your mother's dead, your mother's dead. We often wondered why we weren't stars yet. Words cannot describe the foul stench of this place, which we had all grown totally accustomed to. The sandbox in the kitchen was filled past overflowing with cat shit from Florentine and Oedipus, the mutant 6-toed kittens Howard had gotten in February to provide an air of normalcy and responsibility to his life. The box had not been cleaned in months, and cats being cats, Flo and Eddie made the entire house into a huge cat box. There wasn't a square inch of the carpet that hadn't been soaked in cat urine, repeatedly. Doing a shot of tequila, Howard pointed at the ceiling, where a petrified lump of cat shit hung like a stalactite. I found that there one night when I came home, Howard explained. Etienne said he had nothing to do with it, but I saw the guilt in his eyes. Etienne was a 19-year-old French-Canadian kid who worked with Howard at Lady Snow's Smoke Menagerie, where freebase pipes were sold under the legal guise of being called chemical extraction kits. Etienne had moved out of the house a couple weeks back, for reasons none of us could fathom, leaving Howard stuck with the full rent. Silently drinking, we inwardly cursed that cat-hating bastard Etienne, envisioning the squalid picture of the Canuck son of a bitch flinging blameless kittens in the air as they projectile defecated and mewing feline terror. He must be punished, Howard suddenly screamed. My baby shall have vengeance. Unfortunately, the SPCA office was closed, it being past midnight and all, so there was nothing for it but for Howard and I to drain the tequila, leap into my girlfriend's car, and drive to Etienne's room in a seedy one-story building off Sunset, Vermont, for the purpose of robbing him blind. The fact that Etienne was dealing dope and we were all out had nothing to do with the high moral tone of our quest, which in our minds reached the heights of a biblical tale of vengeance as we cruised down Sunset Boulevard, singing the theme from Mission Impossible at the top of our lungs. We parked around the block of Etienne's place, the Chevette engine sounding like a DC-10. Nerves suddenly set in. We counted windows till we came to the apartment we hoped was his. I think he's at work until 1, said Howard. Geez, maybe this is kind of stupid. That was Howard all over. Working others up into a vitriolic frenzy, and then getting all ambiguous on you at the moment of execution. Luckily, I was made of sterner stuff, and wrapping a hammer in a towel, smashed the flimsy window, reached through the broken pane to unlock it, and hoisted myself into the building for my brain to register how goddamn fucking noisy the whole procedure was. Flipping on the lights, I saw I was bleeding from a cut I must have gotten reaching over the glass. I hadn't felt a thing. As Howard gathered bags of marijuana and Etienne's expensive new scale that he had stolen from Lady Snow's, I speared my blood on the walls with a detached, tongue-in-cheek gesture, thinking, man, this is so cool. My life has suddenly become a Doors song. We walked out into the hallway, thanking Christ there was no one there, left by the back door, and drove west on Sunset doing the Mission Impossible reprise and laughing hysterically as we gave ourselves criminal nicknames. Howard was Brains, I was Fingers. Doug and Susie were properly amazed at our return, having cheerfully expected us to be dead or arrested by now. So we all got high and fell asleep like happy puppies, the pungent odor of ammonia wafting through our nostrils with the familiarity of an old friend. A couple of days later, I sold the scale to an old workmate of mine at Hughes Helicopters, an admin assistant who had quit to become a prostitute because, quite frankly, it was a step up for her career-wise. She gave me 50 quaaludes for the thing. I split our take with Howard. I saw ATN at work today, Howard said, and related their conversation. ATN. Someone broke into my apartment, a deranged lunatic who stole all my dope and smeared blood on the walls. Howard. Jesus, that's awful. What a sick, sordid town this is. You're lucky you weren't home when those fucking maniacs were there. ATN. How do you know there were more than one? Howard. I don't know. I think I read someplace they always work in groups. Anyhow, ATN ended up going back to Toronto. Howard sold the loots for rent money, still ended up short, and after camping around town for a few weeks with chance acquaintances he picked up in bars, had to fly back to his parents' house in Boston, where he was stuck until the following year. I had always felt that dealing drugs was a path that would only lead me to ill fortune and perdition. Plus, who knows, some bastard might rob me. So I was impelled by my personal convictions to take all the drugs myself. I spent a month in the bathtub reading Sanctuary in Black Spring. It took me an inordinately long time to finish a page for some inexplicable reason. One day, as I was reaching the end of the stash, my girlfriend came into the bathroom. John Lennon's been shot, she said. Wow, I replied. Did Yoko do it? But she had not. And reviewing my life, I saw that I had committed a petty, senseless, mean-spirited crime, spent a month in the bathtub stoned, my skin wrinkling like a bad suit, as I read books I couldn't have understood sober. John Lennon died, and to top it off, Yoko Ono wasn't even going to the gas chamber. And in this moment, the LA experience began to go sour on me.
Wow, I hope you don't judge me for that. You know, I've been sober 24 years in August. That's something, isn't it? Let's hear it for that.
I too crashed and burned, and yes, I've been relatively sober up until tonight when I had to come here.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And then it all went forward.
So you brought these for everybody, didn't you?
Well, these little things out in the lobby, these are the Howie and the Howie and Dave memorabilia kit for the lucky audience members. I printed up like 8,000.
He did, because they actually,
by the way.
I warned him. This was actually our original logo. It's like a little Peanuts, Charlie Brownie type thing.
We were so cute.
We were so cute. First they just wrote, this is when we were Howie and Dave. And there's some great stuff in here. The little poems in there. There's an article that Dave wrote for the LA Weekly. It was I used to work in a head shop in Hollywood when freebase was really big, and I sold you know the ammonia and all of that to the stars. I was the freebase seller to the stars. It was great. And this is it. All happened at once. Dave and I actually went into record a song about freebasing. We went into a little studio. We wrote a song about freebasing, and Dave wrote this article about freebasing and the head shop. And while all this was happening, Richard Pryor set fire to himself. And suddenly freebasing wasn't as cool as it once was. Because apparently you can get hurt doing it. So I lost my job. Because I was the, we want to sing the song? I guess we're going to sing it.
I guess we could, yeah. But yeah, actually the owner of Lady Stone's Smoke Menagerie actually implied that he would pay for the recording and use this song as part of a radio advertising campaign. Until that bastard Richard Pryor poured rubbing alcohol over himself and set himself on fire.
You want to hear the extra irony of all of that? Because, you know, at one time I was actually babysitting for these stars because you really can't do a freebase by yourself because you get really paranoid and you start pulling the worms off. So I used to go to, I'm not going to mention any names, but I used to go to celebrities' houses and babysit for them while they did copious amounts of cocaine, and I watched them do it. Because no one shares coke, you know, even the rich. So, and I was on schedule to go to Richard's, but we did the song instead. So, just saying.
All right,
so we're going to sing this?
Yeah, there's an intro. So
you want to do the intro?
Well, no, I just...
All right.
Anyhow, yeah, the reggae was big, and so this is where I attempt to do a reggae
back to go from the very first hit. The heart starts racing, don't give me no slip, I'd rather be basic. Got my shaker bottle, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it. Gonna make my freebase. Make it, make it, make it.
This is the taste of the cool white snow, the perfect chemical high. Gonna make my freebase go,
Racing till I die. I'd rather be facing, that's the way it goes. I'd rather be facing than sticking it up my nose. I'd rather be facing at the smoke that's low. I'd rather be facing than Connor at my nose. Got my baking soda. Bake it, bake it, bake it.
I'd rather use ammonia.
Bake it, bake it, bake it.
This is the taste of the cool white snow, the perfect chemical high. Gonna make my freebase go,
Facing till I die. Everybody, I'd rather be facing, that's the way it goes. I'd rather be facing than sticking up my nose. I'd rather be facing at the smoke that's snow. I'd rather be facing than Connor at my nose. I'd rather be facing than sticking up my nose. I'd rather be facing at the smoke that's low. I'd rather be facing than Connor at my nose. 30 years ago. All right, you know what? This is Banjo Idol Day. I think we need the lights when I get this thing started here. So, you know what? A lot of people, they don't know, they understand banjos. Okay? Everyone thinks about banjos. When they think about banjos, what's the first thing you think of when you think about banjos?
Deliverance.
Deliverance, exactly. You know? And it's got a horrible reputation. So, I found this thing on the interweb that kind of explains, I guess, using what, Fred, do you have any other lights?
Wait for Fred.
Wait for Fred?
Yeah.
Fred, can we get the lights? Fred?
Come slowly, slowly.
We're up to this part. Can we get the lights, Fred?